Let's begin today's Vanguard news with the last 2 lyrical Monasteria cards for Chris Rain and EasyBT01 that Bushiro didn't reveal despite being mid as hell. Vivid Flush Wheeze Me while on rear guard, lets you pay 1 counter blast when she attacks a grade 3 or higher unit while you have a grade 3 or higher Chris Rain Vanguard to get 15k power. Just like in the anime, this is the ideal target for Chris Rain's divine skill to reach even bigger numbers. I just wish Bushiro gave us some lore explaining how a weasel girl gets so jacked that she even surpasses Obscured in power. Scaly Smiley Albina, while on rear guard or the Guardian Circle gets 5k power and shields if you have a grade 3 or higher Chris Rain Vanguard. With Chris Rain being a Highlander deck, the last thing you want to put is a generic grade 1 unit, even if she looks like someone from that Horse Girl mobile game. Time to once again hear your friends say they won't play at tournaments until they get the promo card they need for their deck, because the latest tournament pack in Japan for March and April are here. Dragarita Mid-Hat and Evil Eye of Prohibition Quenlu I sort of understand being reprinted, but Explosive Melting Heart is only in here due to Vazis using it to beat Kanji in Dear Days in the story mode where the player was always meant to lose. Stealth Fiend Koazohime when placed on rear guard lets you pay 3 energy blast to add up to 1 grade 2 or lower glitter card from the top 7 cards of your deck. And while on rear guard, you can put herself into your soul if you have a grade 3 or higher Tamura Vanguard to superior ride up to 1 Will-O-Wisp Daybreak Tamura from your deck. You cannot activate Persona Ride this turn. If you use this effect the turn you either placed a Vanguard during your ride phase or already performed Persona Ride. So on top of broken toys, Tamura also gets a new way to search her direful dolls built into her superior rider cycle card. Meanwhile Thegria mains have to wait for the opponent to be at grade 3 like a stride deck just to use Mirig. I'm totally not salty. Misty's Dragon while on rear guard lets you bind itself if you have a grade 3 or higher Chaos Vanguard to superior ride up to 1 Soul Oratorio Chaos from your deck. You cannot activate Persona Ride this turn. If you use this effect the turn you either placed a Vanguard during your ride phase or already performed Persona Ride. And while in the bind zone, you can put this card to the drop zone if you have a grade 3 or higher Chaos Vanguard to soul charge 1 card. Chaos mains rejoice as they now have a backup plan in case they keep soul charging their key units because RNGesus hates them. On a side note, is Thegria the only Cray-Cross epic unit to have her cards permanently bound, whereas everyone else can either get them back or still be usable even in the bind zone? I blame grade 2 Maple. Vetting Monster Immigrant while on rear guard lets you put itself into your soul if you have a grade 3 or higher Glitter and Eva Vanguard to superior ride up to 1 Poison in Paradise Eva from your deck. You cannot activate Persona Ride this turn. If you use this effect the turn you either placed a Vanguard during your ride phase or already performed Persona Ride. And while in the drop zone, you can pay 3 energy blast when a research order was played from your hand to call itself to rear guard and get to K power. I know everyone is already sick of me comparing how all of these superior rider cycle cards are better than the one Thegria got, but not only does this become a soul for Eva's effect cost, but it can revive itself back and be reused for next turn. This immigration officer is illegally smuggling itself back between Eva's bikini. Stormbank Dragon when placed on rear guard lets you pay 3 energy blast if you have a grade 3 or higher Eugene or Gandeeva Vanguard to retire one of your opponent's rear guards. You draw a card and it gets 5k power instead if you did not retire with this ability. And while on rear guard at the start of your battle phase, you can stand itself if your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn. Eugene has been lending Gandeeva his best harvest for so long that Gandeeva decided to give him part ownership of this dragon. But will this be enough to make either of them relevant again? Expert Mechanic Winston, while on the central back row rear guard gives all your front row armed arms card 5k power if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. And while on rear guard, you can pay 3 energy blast at the end of the battle he boosted a Vanguard and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher to call 1 unit attached to your Vanguard to an open rear guard and stand position. With all your armed arms having more power as well as being able to perform 5 attacks, this actually makes Silhouette really good as this is basically the deck's version of Knight of Insight for Lysa's Altus. Finally, Himagoto Otomepo Imravran when place on rear guard, lets you pay 1 counter blast if you have a Sienna Vanguard to soul charge 1 card. Then add 1 card from your soul to your hand. And while on rear guard, you can pay 3 energy blast and putting herself into your soul when your Sienna Vanguard attacks to give your Vanguard 15k power. Out of all the lyrical Monasteria decks Bushiroad could have given new support, they chose the one that is being used on par with Prisms in Pacifica. Could have been worse. They could have given those 2 encounter decks a broken promo card. Hopefully I didn't jinx this in the next 2 months. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members that continues to support me even after I got my YouTube partnership back. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments which Craycross Epic Superior Rider Cycle card do you think is the best.